Every label had been cut out of her clothes, every single one, her dress, her coat, her stockings, every tag, every brand mark, every manufacturing label, removed with care. Her fingerprints had been sanded down, the serial numbers on her belongings had been scratched off. Someone had prepared her to be nobody, and it worked, because 50 years later, she still is. Her body was found in Isdalen Valley, Norway, on November 29, 1970. The valley was sometimes called Death Valley by locals, a place hikers knew but rarely visited in late autumn. A father and his 2 daughters discovered her body near a rock overhang. She was lying on her back, her arms were at her sides. She was on fire. The fire had been deliberately set. She had been burned where she lay. Investigators determined the cause of death was phenobarbital poisoning, sleeping pills. Approximately 50 tablets had been consumed, combined with alcohol. The burns were applied after she was already dead or unconscious. Someone had put her there and set her alight, or she had done it to herself. The investigation could not determine which. What they could determine was almost nothing else. She was a woman, approximately 30 to 40 years old, with dark hair and dark eyes. She spoke multiple languages. Witnesses reported hearing her speak German, English, French, and Flemish. She appeared well-traveled, well-dressed, and careful. She had checked into hotels in at least 9 Norwegian cities using a series of false names and altered passports. In Bergen, she had stayed at 2 different hotels simultaneously under 2 different names. Her luggage, found at Bergen train station in 2 lockers, contained perfume bottles with filed-off serial numbers, jewelry with identifying marks removed, a green dress with its label cut out, and a handwritten list of abbreviations, codes that investigators have never fully deciphered. Some of those abbreviations matched places she had visited. Others matched nothing anyone could identify. Investigators built a partial picture. She had arrived in Norway sometime in late 1970. She had traveled extensively throughout the country, alone, never staying long in one place. She had visited major cities. She had taken photographs in multiple locations. She appeared to have been watching things, or people, that she didn't want to be associated with watching. She paid for everything in cash. The investigation produced dozens of witnesses, hotel staff who remembered her, a man who claimed to have spoken with her and received a warning. She had told him she was in danger, that people were following her. Whether this encounter was real or fabricated has never been established. What is known is that she acted like someone trying not to exist. Norwegian police classified the death as suicide. They cited the sleeping pills, the alcohol, the remote location. Suicides occasionally involve fire in extreme cases. Many investigators have never believed it. The level of preparation required to remove every identifying marker from every item of clothing, to file down fingerprints, to scratch serial numbers off personal effects. That is not something people do in preparation for taking their own life. That is something people do when they don't want a body identified, when they know they are at risk of becoming a body. The codes in the notebook were analyzed by cryptographers. Some were decoded to indicate locations and distances. Others remain unknown. The list was consistent with surveillance notes, the kind someone uses when tracking movements, documenting meetings, logging observations. One theory that has gained weight over decades: she was an intelligence operative. The Cold War was at its height in 1970. Norway was a NATO member bordering Soviet territory. Bergen, where she spent significant time, was a major port city with strategic value. In 2016, Norwegian authorities reopened the case. They worked with the University of Bergen to perform isotope analysis on her teeth, nails, and bones, a technique that maps where a person lived and traveled based on chemical signatures absorbed over a lifetime. The results suggested she had lived in continental Europe as a child, possibly Central or Eastern Europe. She had spent time in multiple countries in the years before her death. The isotope map fit no single nationality cleanly. They also extracted a DNA profile. It exists. It has been preserved. It has been submitted to international databases. No match has ever been found. Her body was buried in Bergen in 1970 with a simple grave marker. The marker originally read "Unknown Woman." In 1971, the community added a name, Isdalen Woman. It's the name the case has carried ever since. She was moved to a new grave in 1985 when her original burial site was needed for other use. What she was, who she worked for, who killed her if someone did, why she was in Norway, what the codes meant, who she was watching, and why they may have been watching her back. None of it has ever been answered. The clothes with no labels, the fingerprints deliberately erased, the passports in multiple names, the codes in the notebook, the fire. She prepared for a world in which she would not be found, in which no one would know who she was or where she came from. She succeeded. 50 years later, she is still the Isdalen Woman, nothing more. A photograph that no family has ever claimed, a DNA profile that has matched nothing. Somewhere, someone knew her real name. That person has never come forward.